Hey guys, so by the time you're watching this video, The Last Jedi would have been at the cinemas for about a month, maybe not as long, maybe a bit longer. I don't know when this video is going to come out. I'm in Europe at the moment, so this is a scheduled upload. I really wanted to do a review for The Last Jedi, and I've been thinking about it for ages, but it took me a long time to really gather my thoughts on the movie, because I really liked it, but there were some things I didn't like about it, which I thought was pretty similar to how I felt about The Force Awakens. So I figured, why not be one of those guys, and let's compare the pair. Let's compare The Last Jedi with The Force Awakens. The Force Awakens is a very nostalgic movie for me, so I'll try to push that all aside, and I think I've done pretty well at that. I've really gotten to the bottom of it. Bear in mind that The Last Jedi I've seen twice, and The Force Awakens I've seen about 12 or 13 times. Yes, I am a Star Wars nerd. So I've got 9 different things that I'm going to compare between The Last Jedi and The Force Awakens. Every time that one movie outdoes the other, that movie gets a point. Force Awakens, Last Jedi. The movie at the end that has the most points wins, okay? So let's start off with something which both movies do really, really well, and that is characterization. The Force Awakens introduced some amazing new characters. Finn, Rey, Kylo Ren, Poe Dameron. They really introduced some amazing characters. They also brought back Han Solo, Princess Leia. They did some amazing character work there too. And so did The Last Jedi, bringing back Luke Skywalker in a way that we'd never seen him before. People say feels unnatural. Yes, I agree with some of the stuff Mark Hamill said about how Jedis aren't supposed to give up and that kind of thing, but what if they do? And this is what happens if they do. This is 30 years after we last saw him. Someone can change a lot in that time. We also get some great conflict between Kylo Ren, and at the end he finally turns to the dark side for full goodness, and it's great. I love him and Hux, General Hux. It's great. Also the whole Rey hinting at the dark side kind of thing, real lit. Poe, even he, it's just, they really do more stuff with Poe. He's not just a Han Solo character anymore. However, The Last Jedi does have some flaws in his characterization. For example, new characters such as DJ, the new commander chick, I can't remember what she's called, and even Snoke feel really underdeveloped. I didn't really have a problem with it, but I felt like the movie could definitely have worked with a bit more development for their characters. So I'm going to have to give this first point to The Force Awakens, because Force Awakens really had some expert, top-notch characterization. Well done, J.J. Abrams. Number 2, cinematography. Now, to me, this one was pretty easy. The Force Awakens looks like a Disney movie. It looks like a J.J. Abrams movie. It just looks like a normal sci-fi flick, where The Last Jedi really focuses on cinematography. They really bring out certain colors. They focus on the reds, even some whites in the Battle of Crates. The contrast between the two colors just looks amazing on screen. There's so many shots in The Last Jedi where I think I want that on my wall, you know, especially that one shot. You know what I'm talking about. Rey and Kylo, lightsaber. Oh, that's so lit. It's so lit. So for me, easily that one goes to The Last Jedi. Now, the third point I'm going to talk about is the plot. The Force Awakens. Pretty good plot, you know, it goes along. It's a good plot. It's not hard to understand. It's pretty engaging. The Last Jedi also isn't hard to understand. People don't find it as engaging. I found it really gripping and engaging. But The Force Awakens just felt like a piece of recycled ass piece of A New Hope, which is the main flaw that I had with the movie. Whereas The Last Jedi was something different. People say it combines Star Trek Galactica, Stargate Galactica, something like that, as well as Return of the Jedi and Empire Strikes Back. I mean, any movie you could say gets aspects from those movies, or from any movie. Movies, there's a lot of movies. They're not gonna be 100% original anymore. This movie, I felt, did a really good job of not feeling like A New Hope, or Empire Strikes Back, or any other Star Wars movie, to be frank. So I'm gonna give this point to The Last Jedi for a more engaging and a lot more original plot. Number 4, we're going to talk about acting. So, kind of similar to characterization, right? Because all the characters, to have good characterization, you really kind of need good actors to convey that characterization. So the acting in both movies was phenomenal. All the new leads are great. All the past leads are great. But here again, I think The Last Jedi has a little bit of an edge. And that purely comes down to the previous actors in the movie. I feel like Carrie Fisher's performance in The Last Jedi was better than it was in The Force Awakens. Maybe it's because she passed away and now I feel for her a bit more, but I also genuinely feel like her performance is a lot stronger in The Last Jedi. But then I also feel like comparing Mark Hamill in The Last Jedi to Harrison Ford in The Force Awakens, I think Mark Hamill does a better job. I think this is one of Mark Hamill's best performances. Whereas Harrison Ford kind of is just playing his typical Harrison Ford character. Mark Hamill is something else in this movie, and he's done great. He's great on the publicity tours. He's really good in that. In general, I just think he did a better job at acting in The Last Jedi than in The Force Awakens. So I'm gonna have to give this point again to The Last Jedi. Now let's talk about the pacing of the movies. The Force Awakens has a very fast pacing. Last Jedi starts off quickly slows down, stays slow for quite a while, and then suddenly builds up real quick again. I didn't have a problem with that. It felt real different for a Star Wars movie. I kind of enjoyed it quite a lot. But we get that subplot. You know the subplot I'm talking about. Finn and Rose go down to Canto Bight, and it's just not that engaging, and we keep coming back from all these interesting scenes to this, and it just takes you out of the movie quite a lot. I also feel like the movie did jump around in the first act quite a bit, probably only about 15-20 minutes worth where it's a lot of jumping around, and that's where I really noticed it, but it did jump around it, and I didn't appreciate that. That saying, The Force Awakens doesn't have perfect pacing either, because in the second act of The Force Awakens we get the whole Raftars thing and the Maz's Castle thing. The Maz's Castle stuff is cool, but I feel like for a solid 10 to 15 minutes there, the pacing just, it screeches down to a halt where we have a bit of chit chat. I guess it's character building, but I feel like, I don't know, for me when I watch The Force Awakens, I feel like that's the point where I can go to the bathroom, because nothing really happens in that point, really. Stuff picks up when the action goes on, but I do feel like the whole movie comes down to a bit of a halt here. But overall, both movies have pretty great pacing. Just The Last Jedi has a subplot that you keep cutting back to, and that takes you out for a long time, whereas in The Force Awakens, you only get taken out of the movie for a slow pacing for about 10 minutes of the movie. So I'm gonna have to give this point to The Force Awakens. Now let's score. Let's talk about some music for a sec. Both movies are scored by John Williams, and that obviously means that they are amazing music. They really are. Force Awakens introduces some incredible themes to characters. The Last Jedi also expands on those themes and makes a lot more themes as well. Whilst I think no piece in The Last Jedi beats that of The Force Awakens, I feel like overall The Last Jedi has a much better score. The individual songs, the songs that go with the action, they're a lot more, I don't know, I just prefer listening to them than I do the Force Awakens songs. I enjoyed the themes in The Force Awakens, like Rey's theme, you know, March of the Resistance, stuff like that, but I felt like in The Force Awakens, a lot of the action scenes, the music just felt kind of generic. Obviously, it felt like Star Wars, but it just wasn't anything special, whereas I feel like in The Last Jedi, the music's much more special. So The Last Jedi is getting a big up from me right there. Now, tone. For me, it's pretty clear. Force Awakens, I think, wins this one. I want to say by a long shot. Okay, yeah, let's stick with by a long shot, because The Force Awakens had a lot of that Disney Marvel humor in there. It was real funny, you know, it was real good. Last Jedi also had that, but it didn't quite get away with it. People said that The Last Jedi wasn't funny and that they didn't find it funny. I found it pretty funny, but I found that took me out of the movie. The difference between The Force Awakens and The Last Jedi's humor is The Force Awakens is a much more light-hearted movie. The tone is way more fun. So it can get away with that fun humor, whereas The Last Jedi, it's a much darker movie. Its themes are way darker than The Force Awakens are. So when you get the humor in there, it just doesn't flow as well, and I just think it's not as, it just doesn't balance. The tone just goes a little bit all over the place in places in The Last Jedi. But saying that though, I still find it funny. Force Awakens, you get this point. Now let's talk about the script. Let's combine everything, all the tone, the humor, even things down to a bit of the pacing and the characterization. There's a lot of that comes together in the script. And that's why I feel like The Force Awakens has a better script. It's a better script. I feel like the combination of multiple writers on the one script really helped, because I feel like Rian Johnson in The Last Jedi made a few decisions, a lot of decisions actually. A lot of them paid off big time. But I feel like some of them, a few of them didn't, and I feel like that comes down to him being the sole writer of the script. Yes, I know Kathleen Kennedy probably read it like 1,000 times, and a lot of people probably read it like 1,000 times, but he was the sole writer, where I know Force Awakens had Lawrence Carr, that guy, you know, the guy that writes all the movies, and I can't remember who the other writer was. Maybe it was J.J. Abrams, I don't know. But they had multiple writers there, and I think that allows you to sort of toss up ideas, say no. Even if you really like an idea, your partner can say no, that doesn't work for the movie. I feel like Rian Johnson didn't really have that, and that's sort of the problem that they had with all the prequels being written and directed and produced and everything by George Lucas. So that's a bit of a shame, but what can you do? I'm going to give The Force Awakens a better script. So we're 4-4 now. We are even, which means we have one more thing to talk about. I couldn't really figure out a thing to talk about. I was going to say which one's a better Star Wars movie, but that's not what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about what is a better Star Wars movie. I'm talking about a movie in general. Which one is a better movie? One that surprises the audience, keeps you constantly engaged, falling in love with these characters, and continues the story along. So I'm going to talk about the decisions that get made in the movie. As I said, The Last Jedi, a lot of decisions get made. Most of them pay off, some of them don't quite. The Force Awakens, it doesn't really think for itself, if you know what I mean. It just sort of takes from the previous movies, continues the saga in a way that you'd expect it to go, whereas The Last Jedi definitely does not do that. Rian Johnson takes a setup that J.J. Abrams set up for him, and he picks and chooses what he wants, and more than half the shit, I'd say, he just throws away and goes, nope, that's too predictable. Let's give them something new. I think this movie did a good job at setting up episode 9. It's gonna make it real different. Yes, it's kind of disappointing that it's still just the rebels versus the Empire, the Resistance versus the First Order, but it does feel different now. I think Rian Johnson killing off most of the Resistance, leaving them with what, like 20 soldiers? I think that's such a brave move and something that has just not been done in Star Wars before. Yes, Rogue One killed a lot of people, but The Last Jedi, this is different. Okay, it just felt different. Making Luke bad, making him throw the lightsaber off the cliff, killing off Snoke so easily it was just brilliant, these decisions he was making. I feel like in places the Snoke death didn't pay off because I feel like they could have built up his character more, but at this point, using kind of an underdeveloped character like Snoke as a plot device, I think was one of the best routes to go down. So yeah, purely on decisions, I'm gonna have to give this point to The Last Jedi, which means The Last Jedi wins for me. I think The Last Jedi is a better movie than The Force Awakens. Kill me, shoot me, I am a Star Wars fan, and I love movies. I'm allowed my own opinion, please do not destroy me in the comments, but do tell me what you guys prefer. What do you like about the movies, comparing them? Do you think The Last Jedi is a better movie to The Force Awakens? I think so. I think it's pretty close. I think they're both really good movies. Definitely even borderline great movies. And I think it's a fitting continuation of the saga. People say that Disney's ruining the saga. I would like to disagree with that. But hey, that's another conversation for another video. Thank you guys very much for watching. I hope you guys are enjoying these pre-recorded videos. I hope they're not too boring for you, but I'll see you guys in another video very, very soon. I hope Europe is treating me well, and I hope the new year is treating you guys well as well. Thank you very much for watching. Bye-bye.